Hey everyone, it's been quite a while, but today we're going to be doing a shoe review. The shoe I have here is the Unparallel Regulus, and this is based on the classic 510 high ankle. Now I don't have a high ankle on me to show you because the 510 high ankle that is out is completely different to the one that this is based on. But if you do want a comparison, I can provide a link in the description down below to a video that the Bouldering Bobats have done, because they did a comparison between classic shoes of 510 versus Unparallel back a few years ago. So please do check that out if you want a detailed comparison. So you've just heard me mention 510, but what does Unparallel have to do with 510? Well, you see, back in 2017, Adidas had done a takeover of 510, moving the production away from California in the USA to China. And I guess a lot of key members of staff didn't like the direction that Adidas were taking 510 in, hence why they formed their own company, Unparallel. When Unparallel first came out onto the scene, they brought out a lot of the shoes which were based on classic models like the Dragon and the high ankle, which I previously mentioned. But since then, they developed a fuller range of shoes, bringing back that classic 510 feel. Also, there have been other key members of staff having left 510 to do their own thing. For example, Fred Nicole, who had designed a lot of 510's most notable shoes, had gone on to work with So Ill, and he had developed the latest range of shoes which have recently have come out, and I'm quite interested to try them out myself one day. So, main features of the shoe: single strap closure system, 4.2mm of RH rubber, which is Unparallel's compound, and extended toe run rubber, which also covers a toe patch as well. So let's talk about the fit of the shoe, and I will say that it felt like a glove. It felt really comfortable, and this is me saying this despite me having wide feet as a result of fallen arches. So for people with wide feet, this shoe, it did help me, although there is a kind of a bit of a breaking period, but not as something painful like breaking into solution comps or even worse, the OG solutions. I would say in terms of comfort, it's right in between the solution and the Instinct VSR, but it's more leaning towards the comfort of the Instinct VSR, because the VSR is much more wider than this for sure, or even the Mastia, which is very similar. Now for people with narrow feet, so narrow forefoot and narrow heel, lower volume, there is a low volume variant, so if you need that, they do have it. So talking about fit over the long term, I've had these shoes for 5 months, and I would say that there is little to no stretch as a result of the vegan-friendly synthetic upper. Normally with leather upper shoes, your shoes could stretch between half a size to full size. And speaking about sizing, I've chosen to downsize by only half a size, so I'm normally UK 9, but I downsize to UK 8.5. But there is no harm that if you want something a bit more comfortable, then taking your street shoe size is okay. I've heard of people upsizing by half a size for an even more comfortable fit. By all means, go ahead, but it's best to try on multiple sizes before you really stick to a purchase. Normally for me, I lean towards softer shoes with a split sole that's solution comp like I have here. But despite being a relatively stiff downturn shoe that is mainly aimed for outdoor climbers, I would say that the Regulus for me is a complete shoe. It can do a lot. It can step on small edges with enough support. It can even smear despite its stiffness, and the heel performs amazingly, especially in certain situations. Speaking about its original intended use outdoor climbing, this was the shoe that I relied on the most tackling my projects in Japan, both Necrophobia V11 and the extension Thanatophobia V12. I felt so much confidence climbing in this shoe. It might be the combination of the full sole and the stiffer midsole that allowed me to have a lot of power to toe area, especially when I'm doing big moves to small holds, and Necrophobia and Thanatophobia had a lot of moves like that, so I think I'm going to rely on the shoe once again when I'm back in Japan later this year. All in all, I can recommend this shoe for overhanging boulders, sport routes, and indoors I've had no complaints. But there is a caveat that due to the stiff nature, it might take a bit of getting used to, especially when you're trying to do some smearing. Talking about the opposite end of the spectrum, so competition climbing, this was the shoe that Tomohiro Nagasaki actually used to help him qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics back in 2019. So on to the cons of this shoe and what I didn't like. So first of all, toe patch rubber. There's a lack of it, and this is in comparison to something like the Solution Comp. Now, Unparallel have released a revision called the Cubit, which was developed in collaboration with Ryuichi Murai, who is a very strong climber from Japan. And he did mention that the Regulus was an already complete shoe, but there's just that one change that was needed, and that was the toe patch rubber. So the only differences that I can tell you, I'd never tried the cube up before, but I will get it in the future, is just the toe patch rubber, brand new strap, and the fact that the pull tabs, this was another thing that annoyed me. The pull tabs are changed, so they're kind of like this, where it's symmetrical and it's just easier to grab on. But I will say that as time went on, I just got used to the pull tabs being where they are on the shoe. The only other con I can think of is the heel, and it's a really situational thing. You can see here that the heel stops about halfway at the back of your foot. And this is great for grabbing onto small features. Think of nubbins on sandstone where you need to heel hook and really deliver a lot of power onto it. But if you want something with a bit more sensitivity, of course, a conventional heel like this would be more ideal. But thankfully, if you want the same front of the shoe, but you want a more sensitive heel, Unparallel does have the TM Pro, which is named after Tomura Nagasaki, which is more optimized for competition use. So that should conclude my review of the Unparallel Regulus. If you want me to review any other shoes that you might have seen me use in my past videos, do let me know, because I'm happy to review them. But otherwise, hope you have a nice day and take care.